Please leave the camera on.
Hi! While we chat here,
Robert.
I'd like to just welcome everybody to another exciting edition of Cambridge Inside Out. My name's Robert Winters.
I'm Judy Nathans.
And we have guests.
Alanna Mallon, and I am a candidate for Cambridge City Council.
Yay!
Yay!
Yes.
Which at this point puts you in about 3% of the population of Cambridge, I think.
Almost.
Right, we're up to, as of today,
29
candidates
Whoa.
for Cambridge City Council.
Is that the most in the last
There were 29 candidates when I was first a candidate in 1993.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's the last one.
Wow.
Interestingly, there are 9 candidates who are women who are running.
Ah.
And it's the most we've ever had.
Is that including the incumbents?
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. Oh, it is the most? Wow.
It is the most.
And not just 9, but there's actually some pretty substantial people in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is not, there's no
Alanna.
lightweights this
Like
time.
myself.
Alanna,
For example,
right. Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, I'm actually pretty happy about the way
Yeah.
that's turning out here. One thing actually I should sort of mention something, and then we'll get into our candidate phase
Yes.
there. When you reach above about 26 candidates, the election commission has to make a decision because you can't fill the names on a ballot if you do it long ways, like this ways. So you have to put them this ways.
There's a
But
limit?
when you do that, there are a certain number of read heads that the machines can pick up. So by the time you put in the candidates' names, you cannot physically possibly allow people to rank all candidates.
So we can't vote for all 29.
You can't vote for all
Right.
29.
Okay.
Right? Now, the state law, dating back to 1938, says the election commission can just by majority vote change that to allow no fewer than 15 choices. So I think
No fewer, so somewhere in between.
So they will probably allow as many choices as they can fit.
And last time it was what, 23?
23?
You could do 25. You could get away with that.
Is that what they did last time?
Well, we had 23, so you
Okay.
could go up to 23. So I'm going to make an announcement here.
All right.
Okay? I'm running for. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
And we're at 30.
I was curious. I said, if you actually did that, you limited the number of choices to, let's say, 15.
Yeah.
What would the effect be on the election?
Yeah.
And I always knew it wouldn't be much, right? So 2 nights ago, I took all the ballot data from 2015 City Council election, and I chopped off all preferences above 15.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ran it through the election software. And you know what the result was?
What?
Not a single change.
Oh, interesting.
Never mind the fact that it elects the same people. Every single count, exactly the same ballot.
So in other words, ranking
exactly the same way.
above makes no.
Well, I can certainly say with certainty that
Yeah.
ranking above 15 has no effect at
Yeah.
all.
Well, that's good.
Okay. I also ran it with and it can't happen, but if you reduced it to 9,
Yeah.
and you can only rank 9,
Yeah.
then it's actually identical through about round 11.
Wow.
And then you start seeing some very tiny changes. So anyway, you want evidence that in fact it's the higher preferences all that really matter. That
Yeah.
was pretty
I think
telling
people that
information.
even go to these elections, right? Because that's the getting out your vote is important. Or know that above 10, it's not, or 11, it's not going to matter.
Right, and in fact, as everybody knows, the importance of the number 1 vote. It's why everyone, including Alanna,
Yes.
will have a vote number 1, not
Right.
number 2, 3, 7, whatever.
15.
Or don't just say you voted for
Yeah.
me. Vote number 1, right?
So, Alanna,
Yes.
why do you want to take on this challenge?
I'm really excited about taking on this challenge.
Yeah.
I've lived here in Cambridge for 13 years with my husband and our 2 children. I have a 4th grader and a 7th grader, both who attend the Cambridge Public Schools. And 4 years ago, as an active parent in my kids' schools, I realized that some of my children's classmates were coming to school hungry. And for me, that was a real call to action. And I quickly put together the Cambridge Weekend Backpack Program, which sends food home with students on the weekends with enough food to eat so that they can come in Monday morning ready to learn. And so I started that in just my kids' school with 15 students. And now 4 years later, it is a district-wide program,
Wonderful.
which is in every single elementary and upper school in the district, and sends food home with 500 Cambridge Public School and charter school students and their siblings each and every weekend.
Great.
So, and really thinking about why I started the Cambridge Weekend Backpack Program, I had to reflect on the fact that, food insecurity was something that I went through as a kid, especially in elementary school, and I know how difficult it can be. So I didn't grow up here in Cambridge. I like to tell people that right away.
Yeah.
But I
Where did you grow up?
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts.
Wow.
Hey, come on, close
Hey, Brockton. Not many
Brockton.
candidates can say that. So
That's
that's a real town.
Yeah, so my parents were 19 when they had me, and so
Wow.
Judy, I know that you've recently had a 19-year-old, and you know that they are not equipped to have children, and my parents especially weren't financially equipped to have kids.
Unbelievable.
My mom was the first person in her family to go to college and had to drop out after freshman year to have me, and in fact didn't have health insurance while she was pregnant with me, and didn't see a doctor until the day she delivered me.
So did she stay? Was she married to your dad?
Yeah, she married my dad.
Wow.
Yeah, so in fact, after I was born, we were then able to get state-sponsored health care, and we qualified for federal food subsidies at that time.
Wow, you really have, you know your stuff. You've walked in those shoes.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
And so, my dad worked for the Department of Public Works in Brockton. He was the barrel man. He pushed the barrel down Main Street.
Love our DPW.
That's right.
Barrel roller?
A barrel roller.
Oh
and,
my goodness.
My mom was
Wow.
a nurse's assistant at the Brockton Hospital in the night shift. And, even though they both worked full-time jobs, we just really had a hard time making ends meet.
Did you have siblings?
I have a younger brother.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I was about 18 months old, there was a group of about 20 recent college graduates from mostly Brown, but some Harvard students who moved to Brockton and were going to revitalize the city.
They moved to Brockton?
Yes, they did.
Wow.
And so they really wanted to revitalize this former manufacturing town and, bring it back to its former glory. So they did things like they opened a food co-op. And, in that way we were able to supplement our food surplus programs and eat healthier food. They started a newspaper, which my dad was the staff photographer for.
This is students?
Students,
They were undergrads?
They had just graduated.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
It was called the Brockton Project. So they also built open spaces and
That's amazing.
kids parks in low-income neighborhoods. They developed affordable housing, and they also supported city candidates for Brockton City Council who were progressive and who would be supportive of social services. Because I think in that way, city government can really help.
Please tell me something of that is still continuing.
So I believe a lot of that is still continuing.
It is. Okay.
I think that, I think it was more of an uphill battle than they had initially thought. But through their really good work and their meeting my parents and becoming really good friends with them, my parents started to see a pathway out of poverty.
That's
and
amazing.
that education was really the thing that was going to get them out. And so I've always known that a group of people or one person can really help make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to run for Cambridge City Council, to continue my commitment to helping people here in Cambridge.
Wow. So.
You sold me.
You sold me,
And we're done.
But what, how can you, do you see something you can do that isn't being done on the council? Or where would you be most effective?
Yeah, I think I would have to say, after working in the mayor's office as the education liaison with David Marr.
So you did that. That's important to know.
So I did that, and in that way I was able to really understand that I have a skill in collaborating and really partnering with not only people on the council or in City Hall, but with our business community, with our residents here, with our university community, and really getting our arms around sort of a bigger problem. Like if you think about hunger.
Yeah.
Really coming together as a community and saying, how are we going to tackle this? It's such a big problem, but we can tackle it in a lot of little ways together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of untapped potential out there in a city like this.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, this is a community where people care deeply, and I think a lot of times they just want to be asked. So I always say my special skill is that I can work with just about anybody.
Yeah, well, look at your background. Do you share that when you do these coffees and things? Because, I did not know that about you, so...
I do, and it's taken me, I would say it has taken me, I had this experience where, I'll share this story with you guys. It wasn't something I was really comfortable with sharing for a long time.
Sure.
But I did, when I started running, I started getting some donations from out of town, sort of big donations, and they came in some clumps, and I wasn't recognizing any of the names.
Oh.
And I called my dad one night just to chat about something. I said, I've been getting all these donations from all these people. He said, like who? And so I started naming a few names, and he said,
Oh, he knows them.
they were all part of the Brockton Project.
Oh,
Really?
Goodness.
Yeah, so they, unbeknownst to me,
wow.
one of them lives here in Cambridge and has been following my,
Oh my goodness.
following sort of the
What a great
backpack program,
story.
and sent out a message to everyone and saying, you may remember Alanna as, this very young child,
Oh
but
my
she is running for
goodness.
Cambridge City Council, and we need to support her. And
When
the next
was it?
generation.
When was it? Exactly what year is it?
1972 to
72.
yep.
Wow. I'm so impressed.
Well, it's interesting though how a certain tradition gets established in a family, and then a generation later
Yeah.
it still carries on.
Yeah.
Well, 72, that's interesting because I was a Vista volunteer. There was a lot of activism of that person's like a baby boomer type person, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so that, and
And
there's
this
a
wasn't
lot of,
the only community that
no, I
was
know that
funding.
because the whole anti-poverty program was very big in the late 60s, early 70s. That's what the whole Vista, so that's interesting that was part of it. I was part of something in New Hampshire with feeding programs.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it was a very active time.
That's
I think
really
it was, the
interesting.
Vietnam War, and people
Yeah.
wanted to
Oh,
be
yeah.
really
Yeah.
community-based and driven, and
There was a period when food co-ops were being created all over.
that was
Yes.
part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just
Even a
this
friend of mine
all-
I knew from high school went out in Arizona and started a whole food cooperative program.
Yeah,
out there.
that's when it all
Yeah.
happened. Not just our people, whatever, but you grabbed the late 60s and you went on to do community service. It was, it was.
It's what you did.
It's
and I think
what you did.
we're in another time right now where
Yeah,
people
I think
are really
it's happening
becoming
again.
activated.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it would be really wonderful
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
people shepherding some of those some
Yeah.
of that same energy and directing it into
Well,
ways
now
that we
you've
help.
got an app for that. I mean, it's just amazing. All these things. No, seriously, on food rescue and stuff, spoiler app. I mean, just
Yeah.
amazing. All the stuff going on about food waste and stuff that is technologically based. But all right, so you bring that energy, and that's a wonderful story about the. Wow.
Yeah.
No.
But what about the nitty gritty that the council has to deal with, like zoning? Really? I mean, you want to get into.
I know. Well, so I always say that I'm running because I love Cambridge and
Yeah.
I love raising my children here. I can't
Yeah.
imagine doing it anywhere else.
Yeah.
But I recognize and understand that we have urgent
Yeah.
issues here that we need
Yeah.
to work on, and some of them
Yeah.
involve zoning and affordable housing.
Yeah, it's tough.
I think
Yeah.
I think our current council has done an amazing job really working with development, pulling the municipal levers around development to get
20%
affordable housing.
Yeah.
But I think the next council is going to be having to look at things like
Yeah.
zoning and looking at other ways that we can pull municipal levers to work on affordable housing and housing affordability here in Cambridge,
Yeah.
and working with our regional partners.
Well, the whole envision. I mean,
Oh, that's right.
Roberts.
No,
on
actually,
the,
last
main-
night I was
yeah.
at the housing
Housing,
working
right.
group
That's the
in
one
Region
I'm really
Cambridge.
interested in.
Yeah.
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 No, I know, it's very interesting as well. But one of the things that I did also point out at the meeting last night was that if everybody in the room got their wish, they would actually be in conflict with some of the other priorities of the cities too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Like for example, in Alewife, the people, you could say more and more housing, more and more affordable housing, but then a lot of people were concerned about traffic generation. They were also really favored something like a light industrial use, so you could have some sort of
Well, that has
job
been
producing
proposed. I
things
mean,
as well.
that is encouraged by the council too, though. I mean,
Yeah,
they talk
yeah.
about light industrial.
But that's the balancing act.
Yeah.
I think is the hardest part about being a city councilor.
And I think
Yeah.
that, when I first started working in the mayor's office, the mayor said to me, Mayor Marr said to me, you haven't seen all of Cambridge. And I thought, that's ridiculous. It's just 6 square miles. Of course, I've lived here for 12 years. I've seen the whole thing. But I think until you are really sitting with someone who is in public housing and has a bed bug problem, you have not seen all of Cambridge. Or you have
Yeah.
sitting with a senior citizen who is fighting to stay in her house because her property taxes are too high.
Yeah.
Even though I might think they're very low.
Yeah.
You really haven't seen all of Cambridge.
Yeah.
And I think, working in the mayor's office for me was an opportunity to step outside of my own Cambridge experience
Right.
and see all of the constituencies here. And I think it's important to have counselors that understand that delicate balancing act, and you can't just be creating policy out of your own Cambridge experience.
Well, of course, right. But then there's always going to be somebody that is not satisfied with whatever you do. So how do you deal with that? In other words, you please this thing, but you're always going to have someone. If you've gone to city council meetings and heard
Absolutely.
public comment, the same people, will.
I'll tell a little quick tale of
Yeah.
that. Is that I remember this is 20 plus years ago. Somebody was on the city council. It's very hard when you're promoting one thing and somebody says, well, I want this, and you say, well, actually, I'm doing that, and I can't help you. It's a hard thing, but sometimes that's really what you have to do. The mistake is when you basically tell everybody everything they want to hear.
That's exactly right.
Then people start saying, well, you said this to this person.
Gee,
you said
sounds
that
like
to that.
someone that's sitting in the White House right now.
Maybe so. But
Unbelievable.
consistency, I think, ultimately, over the long haul, really
It's
helps.
very important.
And I think it's important
be truthful
to be
people.
honest right now. I
Exactly.
think there's a lot of people that are concerned that our politicians aren't being honest, and I think people appreciate honesty more than we give them credit for. I mean, I've knocked on over 1,500 doors so far, and the thing that I will say is that people really appreciate being listened to, and not just listened to, really heard. And so I think I actually am pretty good about listening to people and hearing people, but also being pretty honest about
what's possible.
Yeah, and if you look at a lot of the campaign literature, one of the most horrible things is that so many candidates are going to say many of the same things.
Correct. Yeah.
But they won't necessarily know how to actually carry it out, and implement things, make those ideals actually happen. That's always kind of tough, to be sure.
Huh.
Yeah, and I've had some interesting conversations with different constituent groups, and it is hard to sit down with a constituent group and say, I'm not going to do that thing that you really want, and even though I want your vote and I want your support, I don't want you to be disappointed, but here's how I will work with you, and here's how I think we can achieve the same goals. But it's important to have those hard, difficult conversations right up front, and so everybody knows what they're going to get.
So you're kind of talking about endorsements, or about different groups coming around saying we'll endorse you if you do this or that, or if you go along with our platform. Is that?
It's more like people are just feeling you out. There's 30 candidates, right? And it's hard to know where to put your efforts and your energy. I mean, if you're going to really be a group that's going to be supportive and put dollars towards it or bodies towards it, you want to make sure that you're backing the right person.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I think, I've always felt that typical voters actually don't vote based just on issues. They vote based on who you are as a person.
I agree.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you come across as an honest person, that's going to benefit you, even if you're saying something which disagrees with what they want. Because they said, but I respect this person, so this is a person I can deal with.
And I think you also, for me, I always voted for somebody that I felt represented my values on the city council. Somebody that I felt like, if I'm not going to be there, at least somebody will vote the way that I feel comfortable with. So, and I hope that I'm that person for a lot of people.
Now, as I like to say in Canada, you want, of course, every single person in the city to give you the number one vote.
That's what
but that
counts.
isn't going to happen that way.
It's
so
hard.
Are there any particular constituencies that you feel are natural matches to your candidacy?
I do, actually. I would say Cambridge Public School parents are
It's
people.
a lot of voters.
It's a lot of voters, but it's also people who've known me not just through the Cambridge Weekend Backpack Program, but through the school food market programs that I do with Food for Free. And with my 2 years as education liaison, I think I really opened up some lines of communication that didn't exist before, and really proved that I was a trusted person within the community. So I think Cambridge Public School parents, I think people who know Food for Free and like the changes that I've made there, or some of the programs that I've brought there. And I think that's...
Now, you also live in mid-Cambridge.
I do. I live on Maple Avenue.
You actually live 2 blocks away from me.
One of my
See
favorite
Robert all the
streets.
time.
You would be my neighborhood candidate if I vote that way, right? Okay. Mid-Cambridge, as a neighborhood, hasn't always voted like a block like some places.
That's right.
Like in East Cambridge, people will typically vote for, let's say, Tim Toomey, or some North Cambridge voters would vote for a lot of North Cambridge people. Mid-Cambridge kind of resists that.
They do.
Yeah.
Were there any mid-Cambridge
Sam
people?
Seidel.
Okay.
Sam was,
Right.
absolutely.
Yes.
Ken Reeves technically also lived in Mid-Cambridge. I don't know
Harvard
that
Street,
was his natural
True.
voter base, but
Right.
but Mid-Cambridge sort of walks all over the place. So, but geographic bases help.
Yeah.
I remember I always say that as a first-time voter, I didn't know any of the candidates, and I asked somebody, what do I do here? And the people said, well, if you really don't know, just vote for the person who's closest to you.
Yeah, somebody said that to me, that
Really?
people would go in and vote based on the
Neighborhood?
The address.
the address that you have on the sheet.
Wow.
So anyway, anybody who lives in Mid-Cambridge, I'm happy to stop by and say hello.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll be your neighborhood city councilor.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Now, with 9 women candidates, do you feel there'll be a fair number of women voters who will give a little favoritism for women candidates?
Yeah, it's interesting that this year, I wonder, after the devastating November election
Yeah.
results, I think there's a lot of women that are very interested in making sure that there are more women in
Right.
politics at every level.
Right.
In fact, my children and I were very invested in the 2016 election, and my 9-year-old daughter and I were devastated when Hillary Clinton
Yeah.
didn't win. We early voted together. We watched
Yeah.
all the debates together, and
Aw.
when I really picked myself up off the floor after a few weeks, I started looking at why we're holding this one
Yeah.
office up when we don't have gender parity in our U.S. Senate or Congress, our
that's
own
right.
state house, or even
Yeah.
our own city council. We have 2 women out of 9, and last time we had 1. So,
Right.
The United
From 1 to
States
2.
is,
Yeah.
I mean, we are really.
so I think that could be a real thing where women come out and really support some smart, strong women that are running, and I would count myself among them, but there
Yeah.
are several.
Yeah.
Several. Yeah, not all of them, but several.
I don't know all of them, but
no, I know. I'm
several
just saying,
that I know.
several that I think are really strong candidates that have a connection to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think there'll be an
Yeah.
appetite for that for sure.
yeah.
One of the other things people have been speculating about lately is voter turnout. We bottomed out, I think, was it maybe 2001 or 3 or 2005 or something, at about 13,000 something.
Wow.
But we've been running at about 18,000 now. It's been typical, which would mean a quota of 1,800, of course,
Yeah.
the way we do PR elections, right?
Which is only half of the eligible, or not even less than half.
Yeah, but the thing is still,
Presidential, how many
in terms of
people
active
vote?
voters, if you use that as a measure, I
Yeah.
think we still do reasonably well in Cambridge for voter turnout. But I think because of the events of last year, you
Yeah.
could probably expect a bit of a bump up in the turnout. I'll be very disappointed if it goes down, but it wouldn't shock me at all if it went up to 19 or 20,000. Maybe even more. We'll see.
I have to say, and I'll say this, I don't care, I'm not running, so I can say anything I want, right? I'm a little concerned because there's some younger people running for city council that are still in school or and they can mobilize, because we saw that in some other elections, all of their classmates to register to vote, because you can register to vote in Cambridge. And if you only need 1,800 votes, I mean, it just worries me that it can be that kind of election where you really are targeting and to get all these
wouldn't
people
it
to
be
vote
nice if
number
we
one.
had some younger people voting in municipal elections? I mean, I see that as a positive. I really do.
And voting for 19-year-olds? Not
You
you?
know,
I don't know. All right.
there
I just
are,
feel like it's more
I think
because we know you, we want to vote
Right.
for you, so register to vote for me. I don't
I
feel
think-
like
Yeah,
it's a connection to.
I do. It disappoints me every time that we
Yeah.
have a huge voter base here in Cambridge that aren't activated. And so,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't it be nice if this was the thing that really got them involved and invested in a municipal campaign, and understanding that city government is something that's really important? I mean,
Well, it has happened before. It's not like this is right? I mean, it's happened
Sure.
in the couple elections.
there's always been this belief that if, Matt DeBergalis, when he ran for council, he pulled a lot of MIT people. Leland Chung, actually, I think, when he was
Leland Chung
first
was
running as
thinking
well.
of, yeah.
So there is this notion that you can get aside. I don't know that you can necessarily get a whole quota just out of that. It's
Well,
a
you
bit
get
tough.
a good chunk.
But one of the things that we need to point out here is that we do have ranked choice voting. So what that means is that if a lot of younger people come in and they vote for, somebody just because they're very young, hopefully they're also
Or they
giving
know
us-
them, not just
or maybe because
know
they know them.
Yeah.
But they're also putting a second rank and a third rank and a fourth rank or whatever. And I would hope that they're not going to vote in a way where they only vote for people under 25, right?
But they might just be putting number one next to that name because they don't understand the whole thing.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm actually giving some credit to some
Yeah.
of the candidates who are actually going out of the way to actually try and tell people a little bit about ranking
Okay.
the candidates. and I'm
I'm
grateful
wondering how
for it.
many ballots there are where it's just a number one. Have you seen them? I mean, you're Mr. Election.
I've analyzed it in a
Yeah.
typical election. It's about 5% that'll just bullet. It might be a little bit more, and it depends on the part of the city. Historically, down East
Yeah.
Cambridge, they would bullet vote much more so than
I mean,
other parts.
5% can turn an election.
Yeah, what we used to say in the old CCA precincts,
Yeah.
the mode, number of rankings were usually match more or less the number of candidates on the old CCA slate.
All right, well,
Right.
I'll
So-
be listener. So we
So
only
anyway,
have,
2
yeah,
minutes, so
yeah, what do you want
time
to,
for your pitch.
your pitch?
So
Why
tell-
do people vote
Tell
for
the
you?
voters, why are we gonna give
Here we
number
go.
one to Alanna Mallon?
Well, I think, as I've said before, I am somebody who lives in this community, cares very deeply about this community, and has really, I mean, I quit my job in the private sector to really focus on food insecurity full time here in Cambridge. And, I've taken concrete action
Mm-hmm.
to solve a
Yes.
problem here in Cambridge. And I think we need a lot more people on the city council who are actively not just diagnosing problems, but solving problems. And I really, like I said, I'm a trusted member of the Cambridge community, and I think that I will do an incredible job of shepherding this city in a way that will be collaborative and positive. And I really hope to get your number one vote. I hope that if you have any questions, you'll reach out to my campaign. I'm at
Oh, right, let's give us, yeah.
AlannamallonMallon.org.
Oh, good, you're on.
and
That's
please-
easy to remember.
Yeah.
AlannamMallon.org.
And so-
ALANNA.
MALLON.org. And please send me an email or connect with me in some way.
Do you
I'd
have
love
any
to talk
events
to you.
coming up?
I have an event next Tuesday night, a week from tonight, from 5:30 to 7:30
Aw,
at La
that's when we
Fabrica, just down
Do
the
our
street,
show then.
which is a brand new restaurant, which is amazing. You should
Oh,
definitely stop by.
all right,
Right
so
next door.
5:30 to
Right next-
7:30?
5:30 to 7:30.
Oh,
so
well, we
come
can
by
make it.
after.
Yes,
Make it.
But yes, please come.
Great.
I'd love to have you.
okay.
All right, that's
Well,
that's
we've
pretty
got
good.
2 seconds
And
left.
by the way, you can also check out all the candidates on the
That's
Cambridge
right,
candidate
on
pages that are on
Robert's
the
wonderful
You
candidate
can click on
page.
Alana's face, and then
Right.
you can go to that page, and
Look at my face.
all of that information
Right.
that she gave about events and contact is all there as well. So.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll see you in about 3 minutes
Yeah.
with another school committee candidate. Bye.
Well, right. Bye-bye.